All right. Going through there. Yes. Going through the speaker.
Okay, try.
All right. Might take a second to warm up. You know, the other day, I turned the back speaker off at the top board, so that's, sorry about that. Okay. Well, this is a very high level meeting, and would like a motion to approve our agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second the motion to approve it.
Okay, discussion, we have one item that before we approve it, would like to know if we can move the two design agreements together.
Okay.
So that we can do that in one setting, get on about it.
I'll change the motion to a friendly amendment of putting the two design agreements for the engineers at the same time frame.
Okay?
Second.
Second, Supervisor, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. All right, we have Jess Erdman on the line, our public health director. Jess, it's your turn to bring something up. COVID, and hopefully good news that the vaccines are right on the page now.
Can you guys hear me?
Hold on, Dave. You might try it one more time.
Jess, if you could try it again, please.
Oh, you guys sound a lot better now.
Yes, we can hear you at least.
Okay, perfect. As of yesterday, we had 1,636 total confirmed cases, with 1,588 of those being recovered. 15 total deaths in the county, and our 14-day positivity rating is 14.3%. We are supposed to get our vaccine today. We do not know yet if we have been reduced by 30%. Montgomery County did not receive a reduction, so our hope is we will receive our full 600 doses for Page County, 200 for each hospital, then 200 for us in public health to do like the home health, the Clarendon Academy, and so on and so forth. So we will start vaccinating those people next week.
So deliveries are to 3 places, both hospitals get delivery and you get delivery, is that correct?
Yes.
So would you mind giving us a call or giving the auditor a call so she can disperse the information or send us an email when the vaccines do indeed arrive?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay. And because I think we're all curious as to whether or not you get shorted or if we get the full 600.
Right.
So any other COVID related update for us, Jess?
Just the same thing, you know, they're still really pushing the social distancing. We're hopefully getting closer to the end of this. You are not fully vaccinated until a couple weeks after you receive the second dose. So CDC is still pushing the mask wearing. That's a big piece. That's one of the most important pieces. Keeping that distance and then staying home when you're sick.
Okay. And then for those who weren't here last week, the dosage that we get is from which manufacturer?
We are getting the Moderna.
Okay. Any questions for Jess?
No.
John, Al? All right, well, thanks, Jess. Have a great day. Look forward to hearing good news later in the morning.
Yep, thank you.
You bet. All right, we're a little early, but JD, why don't we move on with you, please?
Good morning, it's a fine day in Page County, the sun is shining, the skies are blue,
Wind's blowing.
it's unseasonably warm, but winter will show up sooner or later.
Thank you for the positive note there, JD.
If you can with it on, that'd be great. Thank you. We can get a bonus paperclip. I see that.
I just handed out the engineer's update that was emailed to the board yesterday afternoon. Oh, I would like to note that the vaccines are coming in secondary road because we have pallet forks.
But let it be noted that you're not administering the vaccine in secondary road.
But I've been trained in first aid. Anyhow, the blades were out yesterday on the gravels, not the dirts. We had a couple crews coal patching potholes, hauling rock with a couple trucks. The gravels were not frozen, or at least some of them, and there was help to the shop from the maintenance crew. They had minor repairs on the truck tractor number 26 seat, and then an air conditioner compressor. The boom mower, the one with the brush head and the arm, is operational. Once again, we're waiting on the roads to freeze so we don't cut ruts along the edge. We got a couple pickups that are being worked on. Last week we received or cleaned up the plow trucks after the single day Saturday, little dab of snow there. We are receiving road salt. I got 100 ton yet to come in, 75 ton. And so we'll be mixing some, hauling sand today, Tuesday. As is all year, EWP work continues. At 10 o'clock, we are scheduled to grout site 10, that's referred to as the sod farm on 130th Street in Tarkio. So that'll be the 11th site of 12. One remaining is number 9 on 110th Street, west of Hard Stacks there. We did send in a reimbursement request to the NRCS and the Hungry Canyons last week. Last week, we also had a joint inspection with the Hungry Canyons NRCS folks on number 3 and number 8. They like those sites very much. We got compliments on all our work there. Aside from the EWP construction work, we're working on project development on bridges and culverts, hot mix work coming up on the Stanton Road in the fiscal year 22. Also doing some environmental work with bridges and subsurface investigations have been going on. And we have some project development work, design agreements even on the agenda today. Yesterday I submitted a bridge project for County Bridge Construction Fund. The state solicits bridges once a year for some extra funding. the P8, which we've been working on, the design side of it, is our highest ranked bridge of this list. Now, we compete statewide. Is it likely that we'll get this funding? Probably not likely, but we're going to ask anyway. I do note that the machinery, the crane is in on G Avenue, north of 2, on the bridge T13, north of Norwich. The machinery's there, but the crew's not there. I don't think the crew will come back till the 4th of January. They'll do the holiday and then the period in between the holidays. So, but that will be local repair. And a note, upcoming, we have the F20 bridge on 140th Street, east of 48. It's under contract. It's a tied project with the Fremont Bridge. I've been in touch with the contractor. The intention there is they're going to pick a week in late March or early April to plan a deck pour and then back up the calendar. So it'll probably be in February that bridge, they'll tail out the bridge, pound 2 abutments in, set beams, put a deck on, and then at that time, that'd be that'd be late March, early April. So that work will commence sooner than we anticipate, just, a couple months away, we could anticipate that work beginning. And we'll keep the board and the public updated as to that schedule. Any questions for me on the engineer's update?
G13 bridge project, assuming you get good weather, assuming, it doesn't matter what time they start, but with good weather, how many days work is that, do you think?
Well, probably a month altogether. The contractor will pound some piling, and then the county crews will take off the rusted steel deck and put another steel deck back on.
Okay. So it'll be a big improvement because currently it's 3-ton limit. What will it be when you're done?
We'll have to do some ciphering. It should be legal.
Okay. Alan, John, any questions?
Are we still able?
We are not.
I kind of like to know how many pipes we laid there.
Okay.
I think that'd be interesting. I know we've laid quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
So we could turn our attention to the next agenda item, which is final design agreements for bridges near Essex. One's north of Essex on D Avenue, that's P8. And the other one is west Essex. The local ID is P31. So these are bridges 1.5 miles or so apart on the East Nishnabotna. We are developing them together. They're twins. The bridge north of town is a 454-foot long, 30 feet wide, right ahead skew. The one west of town is 454-foot long, 30-foot wide, left ahead skew. They're the same, basically the same bridge, just skewed a different way. And we'll see that in the pricing structure here also. We've used Calhoun Burns before. We have a preliminary design agreement on both of these bridges with them. They have delivered preliminary designs to us and the DOT for review. Sent them off to DNR Corps. We are getting permits. We have permits back from the Corps. We're getting permits from the DNR in due course. I'm sure that it's a 3 to 6 month thing with the DNR. Floodplain permit. We're having to consider that this is a paddle route and have a note to that effect in the road plan or the bridge plan. Anyway, these are custom bridges. We don't have expertise to design them. So the cost of P8, final design, both road and bridge, is $97,030. That's P8, that's the first one.
What'd you say it is, PA?
P8
The one north of Essex.
on D Avenue North. Yeah. P31 West, total is $62,760. As you can see, there's a disparity in the price there. That's because we're taking the work done on the superstructure on P8 and just moving it down the road, P31. So we are seeing some savings by running these together. Now we won't build them together because the detour is of the constructed one is the other one. So we'll have to stagger the construction in the future, whenever that might be. But we're developing at the same time.
Let me ask you to pause. Corey, isn't it too inconvenient to get the beacon up and show the folks on Zoom and in the room the location of these bridges, please?
So.
Do you think they can both be completed next summer?
No,
They won't?
no, we won't. These will be in design phase next summer.
Okay.
They're not scheduled for construction at this time, nor do we have funding specified. That's part of that County Bridge Construction Fund submittal that I did yesterday for PA.
Well, let's just zoom in. It's north of Essex and west of Essex. So if you get Essex, we can show it. And I'm sorry to throw that at you. I just thought it might be easier for people to visualize. We've looked at the maps, but I'm not sure everybody in the room has. So if you get to Essex and go north on D Avenue, and again, sorry to throw that at you.
Preliminary design costs on both of these were $18,500 for both bridges. It's only in the final design that we see a benefit from the running them two together. As a comparison, in February of 2019, we signed a final design agreement for the Shenandoah Bridge on A Avenue. That costs $89,400 for the final agreement, compared to the 97 and 62,000 that we're dealing with here today.
So on the photo, you see D Avenue take it to the river, and then where it says Essex, west of Essex, go to the river. Those are the two bridge locations.
Correct. Is that pointed out on this map?
Huh? Yeah, on that map there. And then to your point about the doing them by themselves, each bridge, I mean, it's kind of tied into the detour. It Go a little bit farther north. There you go. A little bit farther. So, and that one north is only 154 feet long?
No, no, 454.
Oh.
Both of them
Both are 454.
will be 454.
Gotcha, okay.
The one north of town currently is 365. The one in the west of town is 230 some feet.
Okay.
Will that be the last of the big bridges? Or no?
I believe it is. We have a relatively new bridge at Braddyville. We have new bridges at Shambaugh and Florinda, a redecked bridge at Hepburn on the Nottaway. We have the Hall Bridge is fairly new. The bridge on A was built last year. These two are the only big ones left over the niche. So yes. I guess I'd entertain a moment, motion to,
Anybody have any other questions about process?
That'd probably be what, over $1.5 million bridges,
probably $2 million.
two?
The Shenandoah Bridge was 1.7 million. That's 359 foot long. These are longer, but bridge east of town per square foot was less. It was only 1,000,009, 414 foot long.
Yeah, remember that came in under what was projected.
Right.
So anyway, Corey, thank you very much for bringing those up. I think it's always easier if we can visualize what's being spoken about. Any other questions, John?
No. So how do you want this approved, with the P8 and P31, or do you want the,
Right, that's good enough for me.
all right,
But I need them both articulated.
Pardon me?
I need them both. You can do them together, but as long as both have to be identified.
I think why don't you do each one separate just for clarification.
I'd make a motion that we approve the final design agreement for the P8 bridge with CB&A Engineering.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Do we need to put the dollars in there?
I would.
$97,030.
Okay, we have a motion by Armstrong, second by Hersberg, or other way around, sorry. All in favor? Let's take a roll call if you would, please, Christie. Yes.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Now I'd entertain a motion on the P31 bridge.
I'll make a motion to approve the final design agreement for D Avenue Bridge, named P31, with CB&A Engineering Consultants for the $62,760.
Correction, it's the 150th Street Bridge.
Oh, I thought we did that one first.
No, we did D Avenue.
Oh, we did D Avenue first?
P8.
Okay. Oh, okay, I had them backwards, I'm sorry.
I thought P8 was 150.
P8 is D.
Okay, sorry, I had them reversed. So I'll make that a motion to change it to the 8 for the D Avenue Bridge for $62,760.
No.
I wrote down.
P31.
P31.
P31, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So that.
You already did P8.
Okay.
You need to do
Okay.
P31.
Okay, okay. And that's the 150th Street Bridge.
Yes, for
Okay.
62,760.
Yeah, gotcha. Sorry,
Okay,
I had them backwards.
we now have a motion.
I'd second.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, if Chris did roll call, please. Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries 3-0. Anything else for us, JD?
No, I got it.
Okay. JD's gonna go about his business, but we have a large group, attending today. Does anybody have anything in the public comment that would pertain to secondary roads that we could ask JD to stay for? Okay, and JD, you're off and running. sir. Pardon me? Yes, sir.
Okay,
All right, we're a few minutes early. We'll wait till 9 o'clock.
So thanks for your time, man.
Thank you.
thanks, Shady.
Sorry?
The jump drive, it won't work, it might take a minute to get on the laptop. Do you think it might take a few minutes to get on the laptop? We'll give it as long as we can, might be like 5 minutes before we go, I maybe check here a little bit, we'll just plug it in that. Fair enough, that later.
Yes, thank you.
the computer clock now says 9 o'clock, so we'll begin the mandatory mask clarification item on the agenda. I'd ask to put that on today's agenda, and I'm quite pleased that we've got a large crowd and everybody's got a mask. That has not been the case in our public meetings, and as chairman of our board, I've been contacted by members of our working staff expressing concerns about being in the space without masks. Many of you may or may not know that the county has not been exempt from having COVID among its ranks. Some of our individuals who have contracted COVID have been extremely sick. And again, we've had a variety of visitors that have not always complied with our request for the mask mandate. So that was why we had it on the agenda, just to put some emphasis that we understand that wearing a mask or not wearing a mask has become very politically charged, but our courthouse policy is in open areas to wear the mask. And Jane, I would ask you to, if you would please, to put on your mask. Again, this is at the request of our courthouse employees. Many of them have family members they care for who have compromised health conditions, and we work really hard to protect them with plexiglass, with sanitizers, with masks, and they're coming to work every day trying to serve the public. And when our rank and file expresses deep concern about not having this request complied with, I wanted to put it on the public agenda, and I thank you for all wearing masks. Did you have any comments, John, or, because I had asked to put this on the agenda. All right, we have Jacob on the agenda, the board assignments, at the request of Jacob to talk about the changing of the guard. John, as you know, after 16 years of service is leaving, retiring, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Because of COVID, we're not able to have a big public celebration, and we regret that. But the courthouse employees will have a chance to thank John, and we would encourage the public, send John a card of thanks. Public service is not easy, and 16 years is a long time. So we thank you. But as we change the guard, we, as supervisors, have a variety of assignments. Many people think that we meet on Tuesday and we're done, and that could not be farther from the truth. Former Supervisor Elaine Armstrong in the crowd here would attest to that, I'm sure. When I came on the board 4 years ago, I was told, here are your outside assignments. Since that time, I have switched on one of my assignments. I can't speak to, and I'd like John to kind of address when he came on the board, how the assignments were divvied up, because I think that's kind of what Jacob wants to question here, and we'll give you an opportunity to see if your videos will load. But what was the protocol when you came on board, John, do you recall?
I took the boards that I was assigned to. I believe Elaine gave me a board. Did you switch a board?
Yes, I have a comment about
Okay. Okay, well, and Alan, you want to comment about how?
I just got handed a list of boards and said, go to them, so.
Okay. All right, is there anybody else that, I mean, we're a little bit early, we can wait till 9:10 if you would like. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I probably should say Bob Anderson was my predecessor. And so I had some different boards than what Bob had. One or two.
Bob actually did speak, we can get videos, so he's prepared to say. So, I went on top of Bob yet.
So Elaine and John, let me ask you this, in your history on the board, have,
yeah, we haven't addressed that.
Yeah, please do.
Wait till I get to that, maybe, is that okay? Oh, you can, I don't care.
Yeah, Elaine, if you could.
Go ahead.
I'd like, while your video loads there.
Introductory anyway. As many of you may have noticed, I have not been back to a board meeting in 4 years, but I felt I needed to come today and clarify. And you all had a different experience. But when John and I were just on, and some others, we discussed board assignments in public meetings and came to agreement. And yes, when John came on in 2005, we exchanged one committee by mutual assent because it worked out more conveniently for both of us. And then I do feel that the rural representative boards that he has right now should remain with that position, and they have relevance, such as the Golden Hills, the RC&D, and the landfill. And I thought it was interesting this morning that JD mentioned the Golden Hills and that the Hungry Canyons, that relates to the work of the rural supervisor. And I just want to advocate that the current boards that the rural supervisor had remain with the rural position.
Is it loaded right? Now we're gonna have to bring that laptop up here and set up maybe the printer for us in a way that the camera can see it. Yeah, so the camera can see it. So you want to just, I guess, just get ready, I guess, when it's time. Just tell me when you walk. Okay. Okay, let's see here. All my different papers here. It took me a little bit of time. All right. Okay, when I speak up here, I'm gonna probably read this, okay, if I take this down?
I prefer you not.
Okay,
JD kept this on.
okay. It's hot in here.
Oh, we're not able to hear, so.
I'd like to hear it clearly,
Did you not hear JD? I mean, I could.
I just don't wanna muffle it, it's, I mean, over here, I mean, in all the meetings.
Unless you wanna move the podium back
A little
a little
bit,
bit, yeah.
just a lot of reading, is that good enough?
That's fine.
Just to make it easier to read here.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I'd like to start out by saying, first of all, I'm Jacob Holmes, I'm gonna take the place of John here a little bit. I'd like to start out by saying this is not really anything I expected to have to address in this way before taking office. Topic of board assignments is one that I never thought would be a point of contention. But I ran for this position to be a voice for clarity, transparency, and fair representation for all the voters of Page County. And to bring a voice from the rural district, it would not be prudent to let this go. I think it would be wrong of me, as I've spoken for accountability and transparency, to let this extensive and unparalleled change take place without being brought to light. Before I begin, I want to be sure that one thing is clear for the record, and Chuck kind of already said this, but I want to clarify that I requested on my own to be on the agenda for discussion. Although the agenda does not clearly state this as my item, this was not brought forth by the current board. Many citizens know that county supervisors sit on numerous external boards and committees. As you will find out today, the current board of supervisors has already made the decision as to who will serve on which boards and committees for at least 2021. It is evident those decisions were finalized prior to the list being emailed to me on December 2nd, and probably before they told me a few of the boards they would be assigning me, which took place following the November 24th public meeting. Perhaps Chuck Morris and Al Armstrong will vote and prevail on these assignments in January. But I think it is important to reveal what is happening to the representation of the Page County taxpayers at the seat of District 1. For those in the room or listening today or watching later on our county's YouTube channel, I would like to provide a brief summary of what has led me to this presentation on this topic. On November 24th, after the close of the regular meeting, the three current supervisors started telling me what boards they've decided for me to sit on in the coming year. This conversation took me off guard, as my understanding was that the new supervisor took over or inherited the boards by the supervisor they replaced. On December 1st, I was able to attend in person, so I called in via Zoom to listen to the meeting. At minute 10:57, Chuck referenced the conversation we had had the week before and told me that he would send some board information of one of the boards I was to sit on. At that time, I explained that I would like to be part of any discussion of board assignments, and I was told the following. There's a video, I'll play that if it works, just so it makes sense to everybody. See if you can set it on the printer. It'll show up maybe.
Where can I get it to show up on?
That printer right there. Maybe it'll work if you just set it on the printer facing it.
Facing, yeah.
Yeah, like, no, on top of the printer. Just set it there and see if that works.
The camera's right there, right?
Yeah, just
a second.
I'm trying to get it to start.
I hit
Get the right video. Technology. If that works, stand it up a little bit, maybe. Just get pull it up a little bit. Is it gonna, I don't see it on there, but I guess hit play and see what happens. See what happens when you hit play. The audio will be there, if nothing else. Try that.
We just wanted it for the meeting on Zoom.
Let's
You
try it.
can kind of see.
See what happens.
Well, if it doesn't play, I can tell you what it said. It said, I
Yeah.
told you 2 to 1.
We've kind of reshuffled the deck like we try to do every 2 years. Yeah, I want to be a part of that discussion, how they're split. I wasn't a part of that, so I'd like to, we'll get together and talk about that. Put it on the agenda if you like, or however that works. Okay, we can talk about it. I'll tell you that the rookie doesn't get as much choice because you don't, this is how it works. I don't know where that fighting, but I'd like to have their input in that somewhere, so. You want to leave them like they were, I mean, that's fine. Okay. So I'd like to be part of the discussion. I have no input whatsoever, so. We can put it on the agenda and have a vote, we can do that. Okay, that sounds good.
There you go. Okay, all right, so that just kind of played that out as it happened. Following the December 1 meeting, I emailed Chuck asking if he could send over a list of the board assignments they had agreed upon for 2021. Chuck did send me the list, I've got it right here, of the new assignments. I was able to review the new proposed assignments of boards. I immediately noticed that 5 of the 6 committees served on by District 1 in 2020 had been transferred to District 2 and 3, including multiple boards that are clearly historical agriculture-related boards. At this point, I began researching the history of how boards were passed from year to year and retiring to new supervisors. On December 8th, I approached the board during public comment to clarify my understanding of what was being presented. My assumptions and understandings were confirmed. As Alan, speaking to the list Chuck had sent me with the new proposed board assignments they had decided on together, Alan stated, "We shared it with John 2 or 3 weeks ago, what we were thinking of, kind of redoing and moving everyone around like we have in years previous." End of quote. Following the December 8th meeting, I went and reviewed the prior 20-year record of board minutes from the county website and put together a year-by-year board, all the year-by-year board assignments. I would like to share this spreadsheet with you now. It's on the computer, but I don't know if that's going to do as much good, but I have paper copies here. Let's see here. Anybody can sketch that or?
I've got one here, so.
No, these are.
I've done all the research too, so I
Well,
think.
it's a pretty neat spreadsheet. I'm going
Yeah.
to describe it here.
That's fine.
So,
It's fine.
it's pretty, it's a visual. Okay. Yeah. Okay. A few things to make note of as you receive your chart. The numbers across the top are the years represent for 20 years of board assignments. Along with the list Chuck and Alan proposed that the supervisors vote to approve in the first meeting of 2021. The names down the side are the committees and boards on which Page County supervisors have served. You see that some drop off and new ones are added along the way as boards and committees are organized and others cease to exist. The columns outlined in bold represent the transition from a retiring to newly elected supervisor, or in Alan's case, appointed, which is why his picks up in June of 2017. The numbers filling the center of the chart correspond with Page County's numbered district. District 1 is the rural, District 2, City of Shenandoah, and District 3, City of Clarendon. Now let's look at the data on the chart in respect to the quotes I have shared with you from our current board. You know, I'd like to point out, do you see, when you look through the 2021 proposed appointments back through the 20-year previous years, do you see a pattern of reshuffling every 2 years? The fact is, if you look at the yellow highlighted area, over the last 20 years, there have been a total of 2 board-for-board trades. 2. The only exception to this you will see highlighted in blue, where there was a period of time in which the 3 supervisors rotated as the Page County Loss Control Coordinator for liability insurance coverage. It just so happens that we have the 4 individuals involved in these 2 exchanges in this room with us today. We've already went through that. We've already discussed, you guys discussed your deal. One of these 2 exchanges took place when Alan was appointed. The Board of Supervisors took office in June of 2017. The explanation of this exchange was shared with me on the November 24th conversation I mentioned earlier. Chuck asked Alan if he was willing to trade with him, and Alan agreed. This one board trade was agreed upon by the representative of both District 2 and District 3. The only other board exchange that happened in the 20-year history happened in 2005 when John Herzberg took the place of Bob Anderson, who we'll hear from momentarily. At this time, I'm going to ask Elaine Armstrong, the retired supervisor, to come forth and share her situation from her view as a 20-year Board of Supervisor veteran. She's kind of already did this. I'm just going to finish out this statement. I did see in the December 14, 2004 minutes that John was included in a discussion regarding the 2005 board assignments, which whatever you choose to share, you know, you highlight the situation. I think Elaine's already spoke to that. I think we've got that done. So we're going to have Elaine speak on that interaction to her and John. At this time, I would like to ask Judy Clark, retired Page County auditor, to share her point of view as the official clerk to the Board of Supervisors meeting for over 2 decades and seeing several transitions from outgoing to incoming supervisor, just what she thinks about how she's seen this happen, just real quick. I'll get back.
I guess I would just echo what Elaine had said. And then always at the first meeting in January, the board discussed the assignments and pretty much and they just kept the same ones unless it was agreed upon to change. The rural representative always got the rural committees because that affected the rural people and they knew, had more information after living in the rural areas. And so they went with those committees. And I think that was pretty much what happened. The other thing I wanted to just mention real quickly was the board is to meet the first day after the first of the year that isn't a holiday, a Saturday or Sunday. Last year it was January 7th, which was a Tuesday. I don't know why that was, but that's against the code Bible. So I hope this year that you'll do it the right time.
For clarification, was it 2 decades, Judy? Did you
That's
say
more than-
24? Okay.
I just said more than 2 decades.
Okay.
Plus, I filled in while I was the board of, it was 4 years after that, I was already.
Okay. Thank you, Judy. And to wrap up this portion of my presentation, I also have a statement from retired District 1 Supervisor Bob Anderson. I'd never met him before. He's quite a guy. I met him yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I know Bob.
To try to play that, I don't know what the best way we can hear him anyway, probably is. Just.
Can you tell us who you are and a little more about your history with Page County government?
I'm Bob Anderson. I live in the farm out by Bethesda. I'm a retired farmer. Been involved in a lot of activities in my lifetime. And number one was with the Board of Supervisors from the mid-90s on for, I served for 12 years. John Hirschberg took my place. I served with, starting out with Darrell Griffmeyer and Lori Rivas, and then served with Elaine Armstrong and Jim Richards. I never want to say that we were all equal. That I was never considered a greenhorn or anything when on the board, and I think we helped each other. People, you have your own expertise, right? And so it was all the people I served with were great. We worked together as a team.
Well, here's a question that goes with that. Speaking about board assignments, this is how you kind of answered this, but what are your thoughts on a standing board of supervisors deciding the next year's assignments without any discussion from the newly elected supervisor?
Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, the new board should sit down and go over the committees or boards, whatever you want to call them, and then make a decision on who's best qualified to work in that particular area. Like I said, everybody has some expertise in something, and like you're a man of the land, a farmer, and you certainly know the ag areas better.
If I can ask this question real quick, I'm going to share with you a part of a conversation from the December 1st meeting with the Board of Supervisors. I'd like you to tell me your thoughts on this exchange. Chuck Morris said, John's boards, we split them up. John's boards, my boards, Alan's boards. We kind of reshuffle the deck every 2 years. I said, yes, I'd like to be part of that discussion on how they're split. I wasn't a part of that. Chuck Morris said, we can talk about it, but I'll tell you, the rookie doesn't get much of a choice between, that's just not how it works. What are your thoughts on that interaction helping on board? We've kind of already said that, but.
I don't know where you got the idea of shuffling every 2 years for one thing. I served on Golden Hills and Hungry Canyons for most of my career with the Board of Supervisors, and those are strictly ag committees, and should be held by a farmer. And like I said before, that statement was one of the worst things I've ever heard. You're in there as a team,
Right.
and you should work as a team. It should not be. If we're going to have a 2 against 1, then we got to do some change.
You had to ask this question as a retired supervisor, knowing the boards and their jobs. Are there any boards you feel should be represented by specific districts? Which I think we've kind of answered that, but is there any ones you think of?
Anything that has to do with agriculture should be represented by the person representing rural Page County.
Okay, well, Bob, I'd like to thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing this, we can record this, we can have this meeting tomorrow. I thank you for your service as a supervisor.
Okay. This brings me to my final point. It brings me to the final point I would like to make about my issue with the 2021 completed proposal of new board assignments the current board has approved and plan to vote on. As was just heard from speakers, there are at least some boards that are best suited for certain districts. At least some reasons why we see most board assignments remaining the same from year to year and from district to district. Two of those have been brought to my attention. Hungry Canyon Alliance, for the duration of the 20-year archives that I reviewed online, it was held by District 1 Supervisor and now proposed to be switching to District 2. Golden Hills Research and Development, also for the duration of the 20-year online archives, it was held by District 1 Supervisor and now proposed to switch to District 3. The Golden Hills Board of Directors is made up of representatives from every Southwest Iowa county, including Page. Of those counties represented, all but 2 list a representative as farmer to describe their qualifier as a member of the Board of Directors, including Page County. It lists John as farmer and Page County Supervisor on their website. This emphasizes the importance of a knowledge of farming and being very important to membership, and therefore the importance of making sure Page County has a farmer representative if there's one available, as we have for the whole of our archived past that I could find. Hungry Canyon Alliance is a board that is part of Golden Hills and has, for the archived past, been represented by the same supervisor from Page County as represents Page County to Golden Hills. It is a strong pattern from all other counties represented in both organizations that this is their practice as well. In addition to this, the Hungry Canyons Alliance website lists Hungry Canyons as, in quotes, a locally formed, regionally organized, managed by the local grassroots interests of 23 counties in western Iowa, whose singular goal is to control active streambed degradation through the construction of grade control structures. If the board would have asked me, they would have known that happens to be something I've been a part of my entire life. In fact, in the past few years, I have planned, priced, and built terraces and placed tile on multiple farms for myself and landlords in the interest of conservation. I have restored years of neglect and addressed and solved erosion and gullies leading to streams running through and around these farms. I'm currently involved in a farm I operate in Ottawa County in a special project for the Mazinga watershed to help improve and reverse negative impacts and erosion and contamination to Mazinga Lake, which provides drinking water to Maryville and surrounding areas. These boards are just 2 clear examples as to why some boards simply don't change districts. Looking at the services these boards provide and where those services and the issues they seek to fix take place, it would be a disservice to the taxpayers of Page County to have a non-rural representative of these boards. Although it was my hope not to have to do this presentation today, and that the seat of District 1 would be respected equally for the strengths that its representative brings to the table, regardless of whether or not the seat is held by a newly elected member. This is unfortunately not the case. Instead, we have seen a current board who created and agreed upon an entire proposal of new board and committee assignments without the input of the newest member. A board who I believe is not operating in the best interest of the county in regards to which representatives fill which seats. A board who has blatantly misrepresented the precedent on which it defends its current unparalleled actions. In response to what we have learned and documented here today, I propose the following. In the light of the way things have been done in Page County board assignments for the past 20+ years, in the light of the muddied waters of the way this list of 2021 board assignments has been put together, in the light of equal representation for each of the 3 Page County supervisor seats, and in the light of the best representation possible for every Page County citizen, I ask the Board of Supervisors to move into 2021 with the standing committee assignment list from 2020 and discuss in the meeting and on the agenda any single board for board trades desired for the upcoming year based on qualification in order to best serve the taxpayers of Page County. As I said throughout my running for this seat, I am not here because I need another job. I'm not here for retirement or to go further with some political aspiration. I am here as a taxpayer to represent the taxpayers. As I do this, the two of you can conspire and plan to vote down to suit your own interest, but vote me down to suit your own interest. But you can rest assured it will not be done in darkness. I hope we can work together to be a team that makes Page County more transparent, more accessible, more efficient than it has ever been in order to serve the residents of Page County the best way possible. That's a lot of information all at once, but I really would like to see that done, that we just.
Well, I appreciate all the time you put into that, Jacob, and we will take that under advisement as a board. I will say this, I would encourage you between now and the first of the year to talk with some board members on the Golden Hills. When I came on the board 4 years ago, there are a lot of these boards assignments. I have no idea what they do, and I automatically assumed that Golden Hills was strictly agriculture. I would encourage you to talk with several of their board members. It seems to me that their focus has changed somewhat, that they are spending and you sit on that board, and I don't know if it's accurate, arts and humanities is really a big push of what the Golden Hills is currently involved with. So there may be all sitting farmers there, but again, right. Their focus is not totally agriculture. The other thing that I'd like to know, and John sits on the landfill board, the landfill board customers probably, I'm guessing, I don't know this, can't quantify it, the cities of Shenandoah and Clarinda probably are bigger customers to the landfill than the rural community.
It's made up of 11 cities in Page County.
Okay.
Each city has a representative.
And they're, what would there be?
Page County is just one seat on it that's represented.
Make decisions, to make decisions on their budget and how they run, and is there any part of it about what goes into the ground? Is that not even up to them really? I don't know. I'm asking.
And I think why a lot of them weren't ever changed, because Elaine, I believe we talked about switching some boards, but a lot of times we were officers on the board we served on. I'm chairman of the landfill board, have been for a long time.
Right.
I'm vice chairman of the juvenile detention meeting in Castle Bluffs, and I've been vice chair for a lot of times. So switching boards wouldn't really work. We thought it would be a good idea to learn maybe some of the other boards.
And I can see that.
But it would interrupt the meetings.
Right, and that, I get longer you're there, the better you could probably serve as a board member too, once you learn it. And I get learning some other boards. I'm not saying it can't be open.
But you usually have a board on every committee.
Right. I did do a little math just in the proposal, or maybe gonna be what we did, but I really hope we don't. District 1 would represent 5 boards, 1 meeting once a year, Los Hills, and be an alternate on 2. District 2 would represent 6 boards and be alternate on 4. District 3 would represent 7 boards and be an alternate on 9 in the proposal. And it doesn't seem like a real equal.
And I'm fine with reducing my load, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
The only, Jacob, I'll sit on whatever board. I don't have a problem sitting on any board. The only request that I have as a member of the Wabansie board and a member of the Mental Health Disability Services Board and of Zion, there are times where there is potential conflict. And as a result,
I understand.
On the Mental Health Disability Service 9 County Board, a lot of times I have to recuse from the vote because I sit on the Wabansie board, which is a provider, and the Zion board. I enjoy all 3 of those boards, right. But I don't know that I'm an effective representative of the people by doing that.
Well, I'm willing to work on trading that with your Alan or however to make that work.
But I will say that I do enjoy the seat at the Regional Mental Health Disability Services Board. I enjoy all of them. That'd be the one I'd really like to try to keep.
And I understand that you have personal interest in that and understanding that I don't have, and that makes sense. So,
okay. But I'm fine. What we'll do, we won't make a vote.
We're not gonna do anything.
We're not gonna do anything today. On our first meeting, we will sit down, we'll hash this out. Again, I don't, and I appreciate the work you did. I think, you know, I don't have 20 years experience like Elaine or Judy or John. On all these boards that I sit on, there's a variety of ways counties do it. And clearly, this is a good picture that that's been kind of our process. I still think occasionally moving boards around is beneficial, but you're going to find some sweet spots that you know, you're either in a leadership position or it's really your passion, then you should retain that board. But for learning how county dollars are being allocated and spent, it's not a bad idea. And a lot of counties do rotate annually. And I think that'd be tough. I don't think that's a good necessarily idea. But just because we've done it this way, I think the landscape has changed. I mean, really, other than the Hungry Canyons, I don't know of any of these, to my way of thinking, that are totally ag related.
I would agree with that, but a little bit I understand.
Yeah.
I've not done this, and that's obvious. I'm learning, but in reading those two and about them, actually Golden Hills had other aspects, but they always seem to be together, by the supervisor that represents one does the other.
Right.
They work together.
They do. And I want to publicly apologize to you for saying the rookie. I don't mean to demean you. You're elected official, and I respect that. I want to work together as well.
Oh, I do too. It
Okay.
just, I'm doing this more. It's not really about me. It's the seat. It's just the seat. Whoever sits there.
But again, I think sometimes because of this, we have some turf protection where really it's not John's seat, it's not Chuck's seat, it's not Jacob's seat, it's the seat of the people.
Right.
And I think we need to keep that in mind when we make these decisions.
Exactly. Well, if you're willing to go in there, and that's what I want to do, I want to go in there with the way it was and look at it. And the whole thing I think was established to me in studying this was by asking, by being able to decide whether or not you trade, gives each seat a little bit of conversation at the table, where being told, we've done this, this is what you're going to have, gives you no conversation. That's the whole
Two rights
reason I
don't
did
make
it.
a wrong, but I was told, here's your boards. I had no input in that, Elaine.
Right.
That board gave me no input. Here are your boards.
Right, and that, if you would have said, I am an expert at this one in the discussion, they might have said, oh, okay. It's just the precedents kind of stood, they just inherit them. So anyway, that's a whole lot of information, but I wanted to back up what I was really liking to do in January. And no, we don't have to do it in January now in a few minutes at a meeting. Now we can be pretty quick to work on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, most of the meetings, January is such a flexible month anyway. There's a lot of the boards don't always have a meeting. So sometimes it takes February before we get everybody's
That's
direction.
fine. Whenever it happens, I just thought we'd get out of the way right now.
As long as we communicate between the three of us to know who needs to go where that first time, it's not a huge deal.
Okay.
You know, with each one of the boards, we do have to send a letter stating who's going to be the person. That way they know, so they can have it official. It's kind of a paperwork trail, so.
Agendas and minutes and all that, you know, it takes a lot of money.
Okay,
You'll get it.
that will help.
That's how a lot of the boards work.
Okay, I think that concludes, that's all I was asking.
Okay, thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
All right, time for public comment. Ryan, I think you wanted to say something?
I just wanted to comment, you had kind of went on a tangent after Jacob's speech there, Chuck, and what Jacob was asking was he would like to be part of the discussion, and you had said that, well, some of the boards, they completely pertain to agriculture. He wouldn't know that because he hasn't been part of any of the discussion, so you had kind of went and explained that, which, like I said, went down a tangent that that's not what he was asking. And the last comment, when you did say that, you know, I wasn't a slam when I called you a rookie. I think it was a slam because you said he had less to say because he was the rookie.
So thank you for your comment. Any other public comment?
I'd like to make just a few comments, and I'd like to have them recorded in the minutes, Christie. Because I love Page County so much, I've continued reading the board minutes when published in the newspaper and watching the meetings on Zoom or YouTube. I would respectfully point out a few things I have observed. Anyway, I want Page County to be following the law and treating all issues with fairness. One thing I've noticed, and this is kind of a conglomeration of things that I've wanted to say, why are the bills no longer published? The cities publish them, the schools publish them, Ag Extension publishes them, landfill publishes, county doesn't publish it anymore. And they're also not on the website. The public has the right to know. And they're not mentioned in the minutes as being approved either. The bills.
The bills.
The bills that are paid every month, twice a month, whatever. We don't know what's being paid or who's being paid. And before the recent election, I read 4 years of board minutes. I noticed many interesting things, but one thing I really noticed was that there's not a lot of discussion in the minutes, but yet you vote on things right away. And that kind of bothers me because there's nothing that's said that. I've listened to the board make up policies to further their own ideas, saying they've been in effect for years, when in fact, no policies ever existed. One example is the use of the courthouse lawn. There was never a policy. Two former supervisors, Jim and Elaine, both stated that there was never a policy. And supposedly a new policy was made by the board on how to use the courthouse or the courthouse lawn. It's never been discussed in the board meeting. It's never been published. So who knows what's in the policy? In my 24 years as Page County Auditor, I worked with 11 different supervisors, including John. Never in all those years did I see the lack of respect shown by the current supervisors for people attending board meetings, and now especially for the supervisor-elect. I know some issues become heated and both sides overreact, but there still needs to be mutual respect. I see animosity. I see people being called a rookie, and these people, Jacob is elected equally, just like you are. And I find this offensive that you're treating him the way you are. A few weeks ago when Jacob came to the podium to speak, he was yelled at, "Put on your mask." Yet JD had just come up to the podium, taken off his mask, walked over to each of you and handed a paper to you, and nothing was said. Do you see the picture here? Over the years, when a new supervisor was elected and came on board, he was always treated with respect. He wasn't called a rookie, nor was he denied the right to hold the same committee assignments as the previous supervisor. He was included in the discussions during the meetings. It wasn't an us against him thing. I can only hope that things will change in the new year, that everything will be discussed in the meetings, and that good decisions, including everyone, will be made by all 3 supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Anybody else care to comment? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 15th and 18th?
So moved.
We're going to approve them together.
Okay.
We got a motion, Armstrong?
And I'll second Alan's motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, deletions, additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, second. Okay, all adjourned. Thank you for attending today.